Hello friends and welcome to a replay review. We haven't done this in quite a while, but I'll be gone in the next week for a bit, so we're going to do a couple replay analyses to get some videos that are easy to make ready and ahead of time. So we have a Jakiro replay. I believe this is a party game. Jakiro is Herald 4. So let's see what we can figure out here for you. I'm something of a Jakiro player myself. Alright, skill build looks fine so far, level 1. Items, 3 mangoes is a bit on the high end, I would say, but we'll see how the lane goes. I don't know, do you have an LC hard carry? Maybe. I'm not gonna worry about that. You guys can play what you want. It's a party game. Weird drafts are welcome. But anyways, while we're checking this out, let me explain why I think 3 mangoes might be a little bit on the high end, because a mango, oops, sorry, we go back to you. A mango restores 100 mana, but then dual breath is actually 140 mana. So, turns out it's safe lane Kunkka, that's fine. So mangoes are not that efficient in terms of like, oh, when I use this mango, I'll definitely have a spell. Not really, not for Jakiro. So it's still good to have 1 or 2 because this is so expensive, and because like having like 1 or 2 will guarantee that you probably do get off 1, maybe 2 spells. Like if you literally have no mana, you'll have to eat both mangoes. But odds are you'll have regen some mana, just passive regen and maybe a clarity. So like 1 mango, probably enough. But it may not be, so that's why I think 2 mangoes is good. But going to 3 mangoes, it's like you're still going to have to space them out. You're either going to have to eat all 3 to be able to cast like 2 spells, which doesn't feel great. And you'd prefer to like regen some mana, mango, cast 1 spell. So then 1 mango, 1 spell. Then regen a bit of mana over time. Oh, I need a mango. 1 mango, 1 spell. You see what I'm saying? So like that way each mango represents 1 extra spell cast. Which requires you to have some downtime in between, and that means you don't actually need like this many. Other heroes like Undying, they get better use out of mangoes, I feel like, and they can't do what Jakiro can do with like a free liquid fire spell. Okay, I was talking about mangoes. I wasn't even looking at what you were doing. Let's see. You could potentially just like attack these creeps here, by the way. That would help fix your equilibrium a little bit. Not too much though. Let's see, a sentry back here. This camp had already spawned. I'm not sure what you were checking for. Maybe you thought he came from that direction, so maybe he warded. Okay, so I think you were trying to get a full pull there. Just missed it a little bit. Real quick tip. Let them attack you. So you see how they like ran all the way without attacking? If you stop about where this melee creep is right now, let them attack you, and then you walk forward. When that projectile hits you, you'll aggro everything within range. So that's a little bit more of a consistent way to pull camps, especially if they're ranged, which every camp has at least 1 ranged creep, except for the kobolds. But the kobolds are fast, so you can do what you did on those camps. But you were trying to pull because your lane was pushing, and I think that's fine. Make sure this creep dies. Or stack it, but it would be harder. It requires you to stay here. Let's see. I think you mangoed preemptively. I personally like to err on the side of not doing that, because so it does give you passive HP regen, and once you eat it, you lose that. So you'd have a little bit more health right now. But that's a bit of a minor efficiency thing. Let's not worry about it too much. If you forget to mango like in the middle of stuff. There you go. If you saw that range creep attack you, and that's how the pull kind of finished there. Right now, I feel like you aren't harassing. Sometimes this happens, and to be honest, can't say I've ever played with a safe lane Kunkka. I'm sure I must have once. So I don't know if this is how it should go, but right now what's happening is like 2 mini games. It's you versus this Underlord, and then the Kunkka versus the Pango. And usually the safe lane's a bit more of a like duo effort. Like you come in, you harass a bit, then you do pulls, then you come over. So far this lane, I feel like you're mostly here by yourself. Aw, rest in peace, Courier. I think you got your items, though. Did you? Doesn't look like... Oh, maybe you did. I can't tell. Oh, don't turn around. Yeah, go, go. Nice. Okay, first blood. Are you going home?
Was that intentional?
I don't think you gotta go home quite yet. So, look right now where you are. You have enough for one spell, and coincidentally, you only have one spell, so you're good to go. You have Liquid Fire, which is a free spell. And yes, you don't have any mana regen, so you probably, you don't want to go crazy aggressive right now because you won't have that many spells to use. But you have one spell, which you could use, say, defensively if they try to go on the Kunkka or something. And you're full health, so, like, you're not going to die. So, unfortunately, your courier is dead. I think this might be why you go back. But don't forget, you could always have his courier actually bring you out. I don't know if that's hard to coordinate. You guys are playing together, but I know it's I don't know if it's tough to like arrange that. But you can actually have your teammates use their courier to bring you items if you like drop it and they bring it over. And in that time, you could like stay to just literally right click this guy. Right click him, right click deny your creeps. You're full health, you're not scared of dying. You just can't be too aggressive until you actually have your courier respawn and bring you items. So I don't think you have to go back right here. By the time you get to Fountain, yeah, you have enough to like use your spells once, which should be enough. Jakiro doesn't have to play like crazy aggressive with the spells all the time. I think you could stay here, right click, harass, be there to do a pull, maybe stack something, all of that. Just different options you would have if you had stayed in the lane rather than leave.
You don't have the size.
I'm trying to make these replays a little faster than they used to be too, by the way, guys. So sorry if it's not like as detailed. Let me know what you prefer. But I think sometimes it'd be super detailed, and that's a lot to like take in at once anyways. So I do kind of want to try to be like a little faster, a little briefer. All right, another pull. I don't mind this. You got to be a little careful on the catapult waves because the catapults could do... Ooh, is that mangoing him? What's he at? What level is he? 5? This is very kind of you, is what I'm going to say. Mangoes are expensive, and you've bought... This is the 5 or 6 mangoes now. So that is a lot. And mangoes are actually very cost inefficient compared to clarities or long-term mana items like Sage's Mask and stuff like that. But they're good because they give you a bunch of upfront mana, right? That's what they're for. Ooh, nice. Good connected pull. So if you don't have to use them, you don't want to. So unless like Kunkka's gonna use those spells like right now, then it's like, did we really need to mango him? And now look, you mangoed him, and then he had like passive regen, and now he's actually full mana, which means maybe at most you only needed to use 1 mango on him. And wait it out. Or now that he's 6, now you can like sort of do it. I think maybe you could if he managed to land the X mark. Okay, another pull. Okay, so far, we're wrapping up this laning stage here, and my impression is that I think you could have done a little bit more in the lane, harassing a bit with your spells and your liquid fire, but since Underlord also came over here and played a bunch, in this game it kind of worked out, where you kept it like, essentially, it was like a mid lane down here, mid Kunkka versus mid Pango that happens. So in this case, I think it did work out. If this is how it's always going, and you have like other carries that are more reliant on you, like Anti-Mage, Medusa, those kind of heroes, then I think you're spending too much time in the jungle. With a Kunkka, he's pretty self-sufficient, so I think it may have been okay. But I just want to throw that out for you in case if you're always doing this. It's tough, I know, to find the balance. You have a melee creep following you. You gotta like run back to lane right away. Okay, cool. I think you realized that. Yeah, sometimes they get on you. So while this is happening, you could actually go look to aggro this hard camp and pull it down and grab all these creeps into that hard camp and deny a bunch of them. Or like right here, this is another chance. He used his spell. Look how many creeps are below half health. Instead of like looking to harass him and like zone him, you could just start actually hitting these and deny them. Probably recommend taking Ice Path at level 4. The stun is just generally good to have. Cancel TPs, things like that. And Liquid Fire actually doesn't scale that well until you get to the 4th level. So like the 1st level, really value. The 4th level, really value. The 2nd and 3rd levels, actually not that good relative to what else you could pick. So I usually, unless you're going to max this by level 7, which I don't usually recommend, there's arguably a time and place for it, but it's very rare. So unless you're going to do that, I would take Ice Path at level 4. Okay. Clearing up mid a bit. I wouldn't use that second spell. Your Jakiro has mana issues. So as much as possible, if you don't have to use a spell to clear creeps, try not to. Times you need to use a spell are when, good stack by the way, are when the enemy's coming to push and you have like 10 seconds to deal with creeps before they get here. Then you want to use a spell to quickly kill those creeps before the enemy comes and like uses that creep wave to push, or just kills you for trying to clear the creeps. So that's when a spell is really good. If you okay, fine, we'll rewind. I was about to not do it. When you use the spell here, this first one, I don't mind because you're at full mana. So, like, okay, I'll regen, whatever. And also because, frankly, it's really hard to last it under the tier 2 tower. I can't even do it. So I'm not going to expect you to, like, you do it either. So this spell, I think, is okay. But then this one, like, look how low they are. You know, you don't really need to do this. And now you're, like, really getting low in terms of mana. So now you can only cast Dual Breath, like, one more time, and then you're out. So the first one, I think, was fine. This one, you got 2 low health creeps. You can just hit those for free. You would have saved 150 mana. And that would be great for a hero like Jakiro. So here's the stack. And then I think this ward you did here, I don't love this one. I think the sentry's okay. I actually think this... I think you sent this replay in. We raffled these off on stream. I think that happened before I made the video on defensive triangle wards. I'll recommend you watch that if you want, because that covers like why I think this observer is no good. Even though you've lost your mid tower, I still think this observer should go like further out, because now it's like, imagine SF. Does he have Yules? He almost has Yules. So how's it? I'm gonna explain it anyways, guys. So imagine SF has Yules and he wants to kill you. If you or your core is like standing here farming, SF is all the way here by the time you see him, and then suddenly you see him when he's here, but he's got like boots of travel and a Yules, and by the time your carry who is farming here starts to like run away, he is faster, he gets up, Yules runs underneath him, Requiem Souls, boom, kill. But if you have the ward out here, you see SF like over here, and that's like, you know, 5 extra seconds for the carry to leave and survive. So I think that this ward you placed is good when they're like pushing the tier 2 towers, but that's actually not going to happen right now, right? SF is going to push it up, and then he's going to go into this like either tier 1s probably. I think it'd be weird for him to play in this area, because all this that you see, this is nice to have, and you'll see it with an observer here. But this observer, like the difference between these two observers is that this one sees like over here, and this one sees over here. And this is useful right now. This would be very weird for the enemy to come play here at 10 minutes into the game. So, yeah. Okay, so you're pushing out mid. This spell usage I don't mind, because it's like, you know, it's a little scary in SF close by. Kind of want to just kill these creeps and move on. So you got Tranquil Boots, okay. I do like to buy, whether it's a casual Sage's Mask, Raindrops, or a Soul Ring. Like I said, Jakiro has mana issues, and a Wand will help if you get some charges, but not too much. Okay, I think he tried to stack there. I like the effort. You also probably need to carry Detection against a Ricky. Probably a bunch of sentries and a dust. Oh, there you go. You're buying some. I would buy more than one if you can. I would buy like a second sentry. I bet you have a couple in stock. Because say you want to push this tower right now, you have to have 1 sentry here right now just to see if Ricky's standing on top of you. And then, let's say you do win this fight and you want to go like further in, or maybe the fight progresses and moves over here, and you dust, but the dust fades. Then you need another sentry to see Ricky. Or maybe you take that tower, you go push mid, and it's like, oh, I need the same thing. I need another sentry right here. So generally, it's useful against invis heroes to buy more than one at a time. And this is something I see a lot of beginner supports do. You guys kind of know, like, oh, I need to buy, I'm in charge of warding. Oh, and I'm in charge of using sentries too. So you'll buy 1 of each. But actually, the ratio should be more like 1 observer ward for every like 2 to 3 sentries. It doesn't have to be all at once, but like usually you want to carry more sentries than observers. I'll say a ratio of 1 to 3. I'm sorry, let me clarify that. 1 observer ward, and then somewhere between 1 sentry to 3 sentries. And it kind of depends on what's happening in the game, and that's a higher level concept, so we're not going to worry about it too much, but just know that it's usually more than 1 sentry for right now. You guys trying to push this tower. This is a little inefficient in terms of map movements as a whole. And I think you were also too far up. So let's actually go back to this. Let's think about a fight breaking out. Because this will be good for you on pretty much any support you play. Let's switch to just your vision. So if a fight... Okay, actually where you are right now, this is fine. Before you were a little too far up. And I would say this is also too far up. So like, imagine this is your team fighting. So this is like, you know, this is like the front line here. You're a backline support who wants to land ice paths when the enemy goes on your heroes in the front. And if you're on the front, then it's very hard to hit these linear spells because it's actually very difficult. Like, they can just literally run in circles around you and you're like, oh, I'm gonna ice path you. And it's actually really hard. So you have to stay further back, and that makes it easier not only to land your spells, but to hit multiple. What is wrong with my hair, guys? I've been like fooling with it this whole time, and every time I look over, it looks like a disaster. I'm sorry. But yeah, you gotta stay further back. Give me hair advice. Yeah, and you see how you're like having a hard time lining up spells now? That's why. Because you're like too up close. Yeah, you hit like 1 hero. But like, if you look like further back, the way fights naturally break out, look, 3 heroes running at the next hero, which means if you were over here, ignoring the fact that Pango's here, like this is an easy triple ice path. But if you're here next to Legion, it's much harder. Technically, it's still a triple ice path, but it's way harder to hit. Because one, they literally see you right in front of their face. And if you're like further away, they are less likely to notice the ice path coming in. Okay, so this game starting to get a little bit out of hand. I think this SF is doing like super well. Smurf? I don't know. You might just be having a good SF game. All right, so let's think about what you guys can do. You have a Legion with Duel. She's going Blade Mail. I would actually recommend... Well, I guess you have Bane and... You need someone to start fights, which is why I'm thinking about a Blink for her first. And because you have a Queen of Pain and Macropyre, I don't think she needs damage, which is what the Blade Mail gives you. I think she needs the initiation, and then you have like the Boat Burst, the Macropyre, the Queen Scream, all of that stuff. So I'd recommend a Blink for her. But anyways, whether she gets a Blink or not, I think you could go with the Legion quite often. Kunkka too, because Kunkka can X marks, and then you throw your spells where it's gonna go. He pulls them back in, combo stuns them there, and that's like 5 seconds of Macropyre damage plus. So it's like a bunch. Okay, so this is for your team as a whole, because I think you were playing in a 5-stack here. You generally want to make these early movements, like between, let's say the laning stage ends somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes. So at the end of laning stage till about like, I don't know, 15 to 20 minutes, you typically don't want to make full 5-on-5-man movements too often, because it means, like, look at the map. Look how much farm there is in the game. Every single jungle camp, every single lane, that's all farm. And right now you have 5 heroes splitting 1 lane. And maybe you could get 1 camp and 1 camp. But what does that mean? It means the enemy has like 4 camps here. They could be in your jungle, heck, 3 camps. You know, your bottom jungle, 5 camps, another 3 camps. 1 lane here, 1 lane here. So even if they give up this tower, they could be getting way more farm than you guys by farming everything else. Now, this game's a little weird because you have a Kunkka safe laner instead of like a typical hard carry. But usually at this time, the hard carry wants to be jungling or farming efficiently, which might include the jungle. Let's say down here. And that means, okay, we have a hard carry getting 1 lane in some jungle camps. 4 of us splitting resources, but getting a tower, and that's good. So that's why, like, some grouping with, like, up to 4 people, usually pretty solid. And, like, if you have a big, like, Faceless Void, he's got a big ultimate. He can come here, use the ultimate for the big team fight to take this tower, then he stays here and everyone leaves. And then that's an example where it's, like, okay to have 5-man push for a little bit, but it's not for, like, you don't keep doing that with the Faceless Void. You do it like once to use his big ultimate, and then you split up again. In this case, Kunk has much lower cooldowns, and I think maybe that's why you guys feel like, oh, let's keep going. But it does mean, like, you guys are not being very farm efficient right now. And this tower's not even... Well, it wasn't that low. You guys are actually doing a decent amount of work to it, I guess, because you've got 5 people here. Now, this is a really good macro pyre. Don't... As soon as Legion duels someone, just go ahead and macro pyre it. Yeah, so like, I think you didn't notice quite yet. Now for sure you notice, then go ahead and macro pyre right away. Macro pyre, as long as it touches someone, will do up to 2 seconds of damage. So if you touch them, 2 seconds of damage. If they stand in it for 1 second, that's 1 second. Then they leave, then that's an extra 2 seconds of damage for a total of 3 seconds worth of damage. So it's really good to just throw it out.
Straight to the bottom with you.
Boop, 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 boop. Let's see what you do now. Right now, we're like standing still. I'm not sure what you're doing. I do recommend you like look around the map, click enemy heroes, or sort out your own items. Maybe that's what you were doing and I couldn't see the shop. So you guys got the tower, but you see how like gold-wise they're actually still quite, they're doing quite well. Yeah, look at that SF. He is stacked. Guys, I cannot get over my hair. I don't know why I feel like I'm so self-conscious right now. All right, we won't touch it anymore. Okay, I don't mind that sentry. What are you doing right now? Oh, waiting to stack? Okay. Ooh, the double stack. Oh, okay. You tried. I saw that. I saw that. I'm not sure what happened there, actually. I think you must have used an A-click command, but instead of... I think you must have misclicked the creeps, and so you accidentally turned around and hit the ancients again. So I'm not going to worry about it too much. I think you knew you could double stack there, and that's what matters. Okay, you walk down here to defend this. I think this is okay. So the next objective for you guys is to probably take this mid tower. And again, this is where like you can bring 4 people. If you want, if you have a carry with like a big team ultimate, you could bring them as well for a little bit. But Legion will have a hard time getting solo kills. And so like, you can defend towers. That's something Jakiro can do. But it's also, you know, if someone else, such as your hard carry, can defend the towers, then it's good to go with the Legion. Because Legion will provide the lockdown with a duel, but she just needs people to help her do damage. And you saw, she almost killed that SF because of her blade mail. And with just a little, like literally just one more support, that would have been an SF kill instead of her dying. So you kind of want to play with her. There you go. Easier to land an ice path when you're further away, right? Okay, the macro pyre came out sooner. Oops. It looks like you tried to ice path as soon as you could have done cooldown. Okay, okay. Now you're going for a Yules. Okay. Force Staff is actually pretty good this game. Yules is good on Jakiro in general, but this is also a very good Force Staff game against Cold Feet, against Ricky Cloud, against the Pit of Underlord, against Pango Roll. Yules provides some response to those as well, but there's a good chance you still like get re-affected by Pit, by Smoke Screen, stuff like that when it ends. So you want to walk up here. So actually, look where you are. It's going to take you ages to walk up here, which means you're just not going to contribute to this fight, right? By the time you get here, there's no way, there's, like, the fight is over one way or the other. So you should actually just keep pushing bottom right here, or push mid. That's also possibly an option, but I mean, you're already in the bottom lane. But mid's a little more important, so I'm okay with that too, actually. But if you're trying to walk top, it's not going to matter. So, here you are. Fight's over, pretty much, right? And in 13 seconds, you could just teleport here. So if you really need to defend this tower, you could probably just teleport here. So what if you were here? This would have been dealt with. So now, in about 10 seconds, someone's going to have to deal with this. But if you had gone mid instead of running top, this would have been handled. If you had kept pushing bottom, it's probably about here right now, maybe a little further. And that means For the enemy, they have about 10 seconds before someone has to come here. Otherwise, you're going to start damaging this tier 2 tower. And you would have gotten a bunch of farm. You walking top didn't get you any extra resources because you didn't farm anything. And it didn't really help your team push out other lanes. Now, you are going to be here to help defend this one. But I feel like I think you would have been okay, right? If nice try here. I think you would have been okay, like, if Bane is there hitting these creeps or something. For, like we said, you had 13 seconds before you teleport. So you shove out mid, you shove out bottom, one or the other, and then you TP up here if they are still committed to pushing your tower, and then boom, you just, like, macro pyre, easy defense. But yeah, when your TP is on cooldown and you're very far from a fight, like, you were down here and the fight was up here, this is, like, 30 to 40 seconds of walking. Well, at this point, you have some extra move speeds. So we'll say, like, 20 to 30 seconds of walking. Like, the fight's probably over in that time. Now, it's different if you're, like, here and the fight's here, right? Then, of course, you walk over. You stop what you're doing. And maybe if you were in the mid lane, I wouldn't mind if you had walked top either. But from down here to here, like, I'm pretty sure this is, like, 10 plus seconds. Like, 10 to 15. And this is another, like, 10 to 15. So, like, fights at this stage of the game usually don't last that long. Okay. What are you guys doing? You guys keep coming top. I kind of think, like, I mean, you just kind of look at where the tier 1 towers are. Like, there's a whole possible discussion on, like, high-level objectives and everything like that. This is, no offense, this is Herald, like, you know, Herald to Guardian. So we don't need to, like, worry too much about that. I would just look at the map, decide where is a tier 1 tower that we need to take. Let's go there. Because, like, let's say you kill 4 heroes right here. What are you guys going to do? There's no tower to take. So those kills are, like, nice to get, but, like, they don't help you get objectives. So it's better to, like, look at this map and go, we still need this mid tower. Let's go there. So you guys walk here. You know, you put a sentry here to spot Ricky. You put maybe an observer here so you can see this top half. Now you can stand here relatively safely. You know, maybe you have time to put an observer here as well. And then your team just, like, does the same thing you're trying to do here, but in the mid lane. And now if you win a fight, you get this tower. And if the enemy don't respond, you get this tower. Up here, sorry. Up here, you win a fight, what do you get? Nothing, really. What if they don't show up? What do you get? You get 2 jungle camps, I guess, right? Because there's no tower here, there's less value in coming up here. Now, that's not fully true. There are other cases where there is. But like I said, let's not worry too hard about that right now. For this level of, for this, like, Herald to Guardian bracket, I feel like a very safe plan is to just, where is a tier 1 tower? I will go to the tier 1 tower. And then once you get all the tier 1 towers, then you can move on to, like, let's take over their jungle and fight them here. Kind of what you guys are trying to do now, but, like, I don't know, there's a tier 1 tower. We don't need to do it quite yet.
Where you're watching, that's how it's done.
Missed the Ricky kill, but, like, that's probably the order it'll happen in, is, like, the X into the other stuff. It's tough, though, because Ricky can actually dodge X with his spells.
Oh, yes.
Some trash talk between the teams. Some friendly banter is okay, you know? Perhaps a little further than friendly banter. So, I feel that I kind of agree. I think you guys... I think you guys are coming top a bit too much, and that's making it... that's probably what's going to lead to this. I think you guys lose this. Based on this current gold difference, I would say you are going to lose this. And honestly, I think this will be towards the end of the replay, because I think that's the biggest issue that you guys made. So for you, I think your laning stage was okay. I'm glad you were, like, thinking of pulling a lot, and I think you can balance in trying to harass the offlaner a little bit more. Like we said earlier, I think this game it worked out because the Underlord, like, also just, like, played around with you here, and so it was, like, kind of okay. For Jakiro, I would try not to go 3 mangoes. I would try to get, like, save up for, like, a Sage's Mask or a Magic Stick, something like that. Because Jakiro is more about, like, not constant use of spells with, like, a bunch of mangoes. Someone like Undying. Jakiro is, like, when you see a really good trade, you use Dual Breath and you take that trade. And then you wait for the next good trade. And then in the meantime, anytime Liquid Fire is up, you throw that out. That is your constant harass. But in terms of your mana usage, Dual Breath is like, when I see a good trade, I use Dual Breath. So instead of going for a ton of mangoes, try to get some mangoes, so in case a fight does break out, you could use it. But then, like a Sage's Mask to help you regenerate mana very cost efficiently in between those trades, I think is a little bit better. And then these fights, so some of them were okay, like 4 of you going top for this tower, that is okay. All 5 of you multiple times, that's not so okay. That's why this enemy team is so far ahead of you. Because while you guys, in fact, let's jump back. While you guys are 5-manning towers, like here, what's happening? They've brought 4 heroes and they have the towers, so they're relatively safe to do this. And then Pango is efficiently farming. Pango alone is getting a whole wave. You guys are splitting a whole wave between 5 heroes, and they're splitting a whole wave between 4 heroes. So what that means is that the 5 of you, the Radiant, are getting 1 wave, and the Dire are getting 2 waves. So they're just literally twice your resource efficiency right now. And imagine if they only had 3 heroes up here, just using Underlord to defend the tower. So 3 heroes up here, 1 hero here, 1 hero here. Now they're 3 times as efficient as you guys. So, like, it is important to get tier 1 towers, but not so important that you totally sacrifice, like, all the other farm in the map. You can do it temporarily. That's why I said, like, you can do it once with the Faceless Void, come up here, or like a Juggernaut, some big ultimate. Use it to win the fight, take the tower, boom, and then quickly spread out back to the rest of the map. But you guys, like, failed one push, and then you came right back, and then you came right back, and that is, like, really hurting your guys' efficiency. Now, as a support, you do kind of have to follow your team, so, like, you kind of do have to be here, but you should... It's weird. Like, your draft is awkward for this, because, like, you guys have all people who want to be active and no one who wants to, like, farm heavily. But, like, if you had, like, a Medusa or Anti-Mage or Spectre or pretty much any typical carry, they probably want to be, like, down here farming while the 4 of you cause a fight, and then after you guys take this tower eventually, the carry comes up here, and now you guys move mid. Which brings me to the last point. You guys did eventually get this tower, so, like, okay, it's not bad to do that. But then, like, you guys still keep coming top after that, and there's, like, not much for you top. I'd rather you guys go mid and take that tower. So, as a support, you do kind of have to follow your teams, but you can try to help direct them, because while they're focused on last hitting, you can look at the minimap and let them know, hey, we should probably just go to this mid lane. Or you look at your wards and say, like, oh, okay, you know what, I actually need to go ward here. Hey, can someone go with me? Maybe, like, Legion and Bane, or Legion and Queen of Pain, the 3 of you. You could smoke. You could just literally walk, though. But smoking is probably better. Smoke, maybe you find someone farming, you kill them, you get a dual kill, and then you get to ward a little bit. And now with that ward, you then get to go push mid. And instead of, like, continuously going top. Now, that's not strictly required of the support. Like, anyone can make that call. But, you know, it's a replay for you, so I'm telling you, I guess, you can make that call. So I think we'll end here. I know there's more to the game left, but honestly, I think by the time we... let's take a look at the graph. Yeah, I think they win. Yeah, they kind of snowball the win. And so imagine it's between the 10 and 20 minute mark. That's where you guys kept going top and kept... doing what we talked about, like all of you splitting 1 lane of resources, and they're not doing that. So that's how they get the lead, and once they have the lead, then they can win straight up fights against you, and you guys are behind. And now it's harder to split the resources. So while the game is still pretty even, make sure you're still getting as much as you can from all the maps, and that'll make it easier for you guys to keep doing that the further in the game goes. But once they pull ahead, it gets very hard to do that, and that's when it starts to really snowball out of control, like this game. So that's where we'll end. Thank you for watching. Please let me know if you have any questions, guys. I'll see you in the next video.